Hello and welcome to Cynthia Yoshikawa Yoga. I'm Cynthia with another video in this series for pre-practice prep for yoga. This particular video is going to be in 3 parts. Actually, it's going to be a 3-part thing. So this is part 1. It is pranayama. It is so big that I needed 3 parts for this. So this first part is just going to be informational. Just why pranayama works. So the breath is a really important aspect in the practice of yoga. It's so important that pranayama is the 4th limb in Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga. Prana means life force, and yama is often translated as control. So pranayama is the practice of breath control. But why is it so important? This was a question that came up for me as I was immersed in my yoga teacher training. But the even bigger question I had beyond its importance was, why did I experience this calm and grounded state when I knew nothing about yoga philosophy when I first started practicing yoga years ago? So there had to be a reason for it. And I think I found it. Breathing is controlled by the autonomic nervous system, which is also called the involuntary nervous system. We don't have to think about or actively participate in breathing. It just happens, like the beating of our hearts. Breathing is a complex process, and thank goodness it is involuntary, because it would be difficult for us to take over the everyday management of keeping us breathing 24/7. Simply put as I can express this, chemical processes that control breathing are also connected to respiratory centers in the brain. And one of those centers is the limbic system. The limbic system has many functions, and two of those just happen to regulate breath regulation and emotion regulation. Of the body processes that are involuntary, breathing is one that we have some control over, because there is also an input in the brain to the cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex is where conscious volition happens. Conscious volition is our ability to act on our thoughts and sensations that we feel. Because of this crossover in the brain, right, in the process of breathing and emotion regulation, we have the ability to go from natural breathing, which is involuntary, to conscious breathing, which is voluntary. This switch in controlling our breath helps us to calm our emotions and regulate our nervous system. Actively controlling our breath can take us out of fight or flight response to a rest and digest response. This is why breath in the physical practice of yoga asanas and meditation is so important, and why you can still experience the benefits of yoga and know nothing about yoga philosophy. That alone is pretty magical. And just imagine if you add a sprinkle of yoga philosophy to the mix, and how beneficial that's going to be for you. I found that fascinating, and it really brought out the science of yoga. I mean, yoga is actually a science, and a lot of people ascribe this very spiritual nature to it, but at its core, it's quite practical, right? When you think about the science of it. So I hope this helped. I hope this helps kind of explain why pranayama is so important in the yoga practice, and that pranayama you can actually do anywhere. It's just breath control. It goes everywhere you go. And wherever you're at, you can take yourself from a really stressed state control that breath to a calmer state where you can actually make some better decisions and be out of that cortisol inducing stress state. So yeah, this was a big one for me. Helped me really understand the function of pranayama in a practice. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Just like put question, because then if I have comments and I can scroll through and just see that there's a question that I can address. There are 2 more videos in this series, right? Because pranayama is so big. The second one is going to be about the natural breath, belly breath, and ujjayi, because oftentimes people don't understand what ujjayi is and how to achieve it. So we're going to be doing that in this part 2 of the pranayama series. And part 3, what was part 3? Oh gosh, now I can't even remember what part 3 was. Oh, part 3, we're going to discuss when to breathe. Like, that was a mystery to me for the longest time. It's like, I would get lost in class and I'd like, oh, I don't know where I'm at. When do I breathe? So in pranayama part 3, we're going to go over when you inhale and when you exhale. And it's actually quite logical and based again on science and how the body works. So that should be great. So hang out, look for the other 2 videos. I'm going to try to release them all at the same time so you can get all 3. And hopefully I can do that because it just takes time to edit and everything. So I look forward to seeing you. I hope you look forward to the rest of this information, because this is one of those core things that you should have before you actually start the physical practice of yoga, so that you understand how it all works. So if you would, please like, subscribe, watch, share it if there is somebody you know who could use this information. And yeah, the algorithm gods, gotta please them. So I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.